So hurricane season just got underway, and there are serious concerns that FEMA is not ready for what's to come. Hey everybody, I'm Ruben Jones. Look, if you've been through a natural disaster, you know all about FEMA. It's the federal agency that makes sure the federal dollars are transferred to the states and local governments after a natural disaster hits, making sure people get rental assistance, making sure they've got what they need after that storm hits. But under the Trump administration, this agency is going through big changes, and there are concerns about what's to come. A lot of the attention we hear about FEMA started when Tropical Storm Helene hit western North Carolina. Then candidate Donald Trump really centered a lot of criticism at the agency. And after the president was elected, where was the first place he visited once he got sworn in? Western North Carolina.
I think we're going to recommend that FEMA go away. And we pay directly, we pay a percentage to the state.
So that created quite the reaction because everybody was wondering, well, what's going to happen with FEMA? The president created what's known as the FEMA Review Council to look at what sort of changes the agency should go through. Now, the woman who's in charge of leading the Department of Homeland Security, which oversees FEMA, is Kristi Noem.
We're going to eliminate FEMA.
So all of this has meant a really turbulent time for the agency. The size of the agency is now significantly smaller. And the acting administrator, Cameron Hamilton, well, he said this to Congress last month.
Do you support eliminating FEMA?
I do not believe it is in the best interest of the American people to eliminate the Federal Emergency Management Agency.
Okay. Hamilton was ousted from his position after he testified to Congress saying that. Whether those comments were the reason for his ouster is a little bit unclear, but nonetheless, he left, and now Hamilton is gone, and who you have in there now is David Richardson, who took over in May. Kristi Noem kind of crystallized her feelings on what should happen with FEMA at the Review Council's first meeting in May.
Our goal is that states should manage their emergencies and we come in and support them, and we're there in a time of financial crisis.
So it would seem FEMA would exist in some form, but much smaller. The problem with that is these states can't do this on their own. Even the largest states likely need some sort of federal assistance. Look, Florida, Texas are likely able to handle a natural disaster a lot better than a smaller state. So there's concern about if the federal government isn't there for some money, for some resources, the states aren't necessarily equipped for this. Now, having said that, there is agreement that I've heard from Democrats and from Republicans that changes do need to be made at FEMA. They say it is too much bureaucracy, that it is moves too slow. It's complicated for victims to figure out how to apply for assistance, which agency to go to. So there's agreement there. And there's also agreement, from what I've heard, that there needs to be some sort of federal body in place that coordinates the resources that are available to states after a natural disaster.
We need a core group of folks in Washington, D.C. to consult with states with matters that they may not be familiar with, whether that is called FEMA or whether it's called something else.
Now, another aspect to this is how much the federal government, how much FEMA matches states in their recovery after natural disasters. So take North Carolina recovering from Helene, for example. And this has gotten some attention. North Carolina had asked FEMA to extend its 100% match, which means the federal government would match 100% of what the state was spending on debris removal from Helene. FEMA said, no, we are not going to continue that 100% match. We are going to drop it down to what is 90%. Now, they may not sound like very much, a 10% difference, but the state says that 10% is worth hundreds of $millions that the state will now be on the hook for. And even members of Congress on both sides of the aisle had advocated for FEMA to do the 100% match, saying in a letter before this happens that 100% extension has been done in response to Hurricanes Katrina, Maria, and Ike. And so that's going to be something to watch, is does FEMA take a harder stance perhaps on other natural disasters around the country in the coming months. So look, here we are, hurricane season now underway. There are a lot of people worried about whether this agency is equipped and ready for what could be a terrible hurricane season. We'll see what plays out, but obviously we've seen so many devastating hurricanes in recent years. Does FEMA take a more hands-off approach? Does it even have the resources to be a hands-on approach? All of that to follow as this agency continues to be a major focus and point of controversy.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Let Spectrum News be your resource for balanced, in-depth political coverage. And click the subscribe button here. You can also download our app and watch us on TV to learn more about the candidates, where they stand on the issues, and more. We'll see you then.